What's up guys, it's Tommy here and welcome to the Manchester City Watford post-match analysis, and this will be a Premier League review show where I will talk about all of the Premier League games today. What do you think about VAR, and especially what do you think about how the Premier League is implementing VAR into their matches? Manchester City almost broke or set the Premier League record. The biggest win so far in the Premier League occurred when, I think in 1995, Manchester United beat Crystal Palace 9-0 or something like that, or was it Liverpool? I'm not entirely sure, but Manchester City were 5-0 up after 18 minutes, and that's the biggest lead that any Premier League side had ever in the history of the competition after just 18 minutes. An incredible performance. And Watford, after having 31 shots last game week against Arsenal, and they were this close to beating Arsenal, they go to Man City and lose 8-0, and Man City losing to Norwich and now beating Watford 8-0. I mean, this is just crazy, and Watford just sacked their manager, so what next for them? It's absolutely incredible. And also, the way that Manchester City played, it could have been 12-0, honestly, it could have been that bad. Aguero missed some glorious chances even though he got a goal and an assist. Bernardo Silva got a hat-trick, and Manchester City could even afford to rest Raheem Sterling and not bring him on for any minutes, which was just amazing. It shows that how strong the Man City squad is. They have Leroy Sané out, they have John Stones, Laporte out, and they rested Raheem Sterling and they still win 8-0. If this game happened in France, everybody would call the French league the Farmers League. So what do you think about this? Does the Manchester City dominance worry you about the Premier League becoming a similar league to the Serie A or to the French league, where one team wins the Premier League title many years in a row? I really hope that Liverpool can stop Manchester City winning the title this season. I honestly think Liverpool are the only side who is truly capable of winning the title apart from Manchester City. And Man City just played incredible football. Kevin De Bruyne was instrumental in so many of their plays, so many of their goals. Kevin De Bruyne reminds me of a prime Steven Gerrard. He has as sweet of a right foot, as Steven Gerrard. The way that he can cross the ball, the way that he can shoot, he really reminds me of Steven Gerrard in his prime. The way that he orchestrates the play, and in some instances he might be even better than prime Gerrard. The way that he can deliver deep crosses from like not even close to the touchline, but in the middle of midfield, he can ping a cross towards the far corner inch perfectly to the Manchester City attackers. I mean, in the first minute, that's how David Silva scored. And Aguero also, honestly, he should have had 3 or 4 goals today. He might be disappointed with himself that after getting 1 goal and an assist in 18 minutes, after that Aguero couldn't get on the score sheet, or couldn't score, or couldn't get an assist, and that was his own downfall. He had some glorious chances. Benjamin Mendy started today after a long time out with injury, and Angelino came on for him at halftime, so he had also a good cameo. He whipped in a cross which Aguero really should have buried. Aguero hits the post in the second half, and it was just an incredible performance by Manchester City. Their goal difference after just 6 games is plus 18, which is just ridiculous, absolutely incredible. And I'm just so grateful for Tottenham and Norwich that they could have they already took 5 points off Manchester City, because the way that Man City played today, I can see them winning a lot of games again this season. But I think with their defense being very thin in terms of they actually brought on Garcia, a 19-year-old centre-back, for Otamendi, because the game was 7-0, it was already over. Sorry, Eric Garcia is 18 years old, and I think Guardiola just wanted to give him a little bit of playing time, a little bit of experience, because he might have to play some games. Fernandinho is now centre-back for Manchester City. He's playing as a centre-back because, Stones and Laporte are out injured. And I think maybe against better teams, the defense will be exposed. But actually, Norwich City took full advantage of the shaky defense of Manchester City, and John Stones even was playing there. The bad news for the rest of the Premier League is that Manchester City are so good going forward that even if they have no centre-backs, no centre-backs who have their centre-back as their primary position, even if Man City have no fit centre-backs, I can see them winning like 70-80% of their games. Will that be enough for Liverpool to win the title? We shall wait and see. But I think Stones out for like 5 weeks, Laporte out until January, February, is a massive opportunity for Liverpool, and I really hope that Liverpool can take advantage of that. There has been incredible controversy once again. Tottenham were 1-0 up. Serge Aurier scored a perfectly good goal to make it 2-0, and the referee actually gave the goal. But VAR ruled Heung-min Son offside by just 1 millimeter or one fraction of an inch. That's how close it was. And for those calls, I honestly think VAR can't tell whether it's offside or not, because the way that the Premier League games are filmed, between one frame and the next frame, where you stop the frame at the exact moment where the player kicks the ball, the margin of error is bigger than 1 millimeter. So you can't objectively say that it was offside. Yes, at that moment, if you pause the frame, if you pause the video at the time where the player kicks the ball, it looks like Heung-min Son is 1 millimeter offside. But what I'm saying is, if you had a much bigger frame rate video footage, you could have pinpoint a different moment at the exact moment where the pass is made. And then Heung-min Son is not offside. So it's not objectively, 100% true. And for these calls, I felt sorry for the Tottenham fans, especially because they thought at 2-0 it was game over, they won the game. At that moment, Tottenham were dominating the game. Yes, Leicester City had some chances, but Tottenham were actually on top. And if that goes in 2-0, that kills Leicester's confidence, and they would have probably made some substitutions and just see the game out. But the way that the goal was disallowed, it gave a massive boost, a massive lift to Leicester City, and they actually came back and turned it around. They equalized, and not long after that, they actually won the game. Ricardo Pereira equalized in the 69th minute, and then James Maddison scored an absolute worldie from like 25 yards into the bottom corner. A brilliant goal. And Leicester City are truly, seriously, in my opinion, top 4 contenders. Not just top 6 contenders, but top 4 contenders. Because the way that Leicester City are playing, if they can convert more of their chances, they can finish in the top 4. They got a draw away at Chelsea, where they actually played better than Chelsea in the second half and could have won that game. And they were a little bit unlucky to lose to Manchester United. James Maddison had a chance there in the Man United game, which De Gea was very lucky to save actually in the first 5 minutes of the game. And if that goes in, it's a completely different game. And also James Maddison had 30 shots in the Premier League without scoring before today's goal. So it was a huge relief, and you could see how much it meant to him, the way that he celebrated. And also what was really class is James Maddison quote tweeted the newspaper that the Liverpool fans hate the most, and I don't even want to say the name of the newspaper, but he was actually, the newspaper had an article mocking James Maddison for wearing, yes, it was a quite ridiculous backpack, but to write a whole article about James Maddison wearing a backpack before a game was, it's really ridiculous. And James Maddison tweeted in reply to the newspaper saying, at least I wasn't holding your newspaper in my hand, and that got huge support on Twitter, and I'm really grateful for James Maddison for that tweet, and he is now even more likable for Liverpool fans, and many Liverpool fans were actually saying sign him up because of that tweet. So fair play to James Maddison, he was really good. Everton, what is going on with them? They dominated the game against Sheffield United. They scored an own goal. It was a little bit harsh because Pickford got a little bit impeded by the Sheffield United attacker, but it's the Premier League, and sometimes the referees give that, sometimes don't. So Sheffield United took the lead without actually having a shot in the first half, which was quite incredible. Everton had like 10 shots at one point, and Sheffield United had 0, and the scoreline read 0-1. And then Sheffield United on the counter-attack scored the second goal, and that really killed Everton off. And Everton are now in serious trouble. They invested again huge amounts of money, and it's just not clicking. They lost the second game in a row, and it's worrying times. Also, Burnley-Norwich finished 2-0. Burnley scoring 2 Chris Wood really good goals, and Norwich away from home, it's worrying. They only scored 1 goal away from home, and they scored 9 goals at home. So Norwich City are really a two-faced team. At home they are very dangerous, they can beat anybody, they can even beat the champions Manchester City, but away from home Norwich are like a different version of themselves, and that has to be worrying for the Norwich fans, because just with your home form you can't really survive in the Premier League. You need to pick up points away from home if you want to stay up. Also, the Newcastle-Brighton game, it was a very eventful game with quite a lot of chances, but both goalkeepers were really on top. Brighton were the better team, I felt. They actually had more chances, but Newcastle, especially in the second half on the counter-attack, could have easily won that game. So Newcastle fans probably have a little bit of a complaint that at home they didn't beat Brighton, but they could have easily lost as well. The Newcastle goalkeeper also had to make some good saves. So this was a really enjoyable game of enjoyable day of Premier League football, and tomorrow it's the Chelsea-Liverpool game. Really looking forward to that. Thanks for watching, guys. See you later. Goodbye.